into a place, a building where a building had burned and going through rubble. Has anybody ever seen a bottle that has been burned? When you look at the bottle that's been burned, there's a lot of smoke, there's a lot of haze. And a lot of times, a lot of people will tell you there's no way of reusing this bottle. You can do whatever you want to do. You'll never get the smell out of it. It'll never look right. You'll have to melt it back down and take it all the way to nothing. It can never be used. Has anybody ever picked up a bottle that has been in the smoke, and when you picked it up, it was so fragile that it just broke? Yeah. Right there in your hands. And you delicately picked it up. Just moved it, and it just shattered and broke. David says, God, I've been through a lot with you. I've been through a lot of people talking. I've been through a lot of pain. I've been through a lot of things on my life. I believe that David went all the way back. Lord, this is even before that I was even told I was going to be king. The lion and the bear attacked me out in the field. Lord, I've been through so much for you. I believe you said, Lord, not only have I been so much through so much with you, for you, but Lord, even my own daddy wouldn't even have noticed me until Samuel came by and called me out and anointed me. I was just one of those that was pushed in the field. I was just the 8th son. I wasn't the 1st, I wasn't the 7th, I wasn't the 9th, but I was the 8th. Lord, I didn't understand, but now I'm the new beginning for my family. 8 is new beginnings. I'm the new beginning, but God, I've been through a lot of things. I've been through a lot of pressure, and Lord, now I just need to tell you that I feel like that bottle in the smoke. Take you back to a little history. Back in the Jewish times, back in David's time, as he began to roam in the fields, a canteen was a very important thing to have. A bottle was very important. If you went to somebody's house and they had a bowl or a bottle for you to drink out of, this person you would consider them a rich person. Because to make this bottle means you had to get a taskmaster. You had to get somebody who create and make the bottle. And to make the bottle, there was procedures that would go through. And the best bottles to ever make didn't come out of lamb. It come from goat skin. I'm about to preach. So they would take and bring and kill the goat. They would skin the goat and they would take because to make the bottle, you got to understand that they would it wasn't a glass flask, but it was made out of goat skin. And they would take the goat skin and they would take it and they would put a shape to it. They would take it to this dark building. And they would put it in this building with no windows. And they would shut the door. 40 or 50 feet on the other side, they would take and build a fire. And they would pipe this smoke out of this fire underground to come out into this building. So that the smoke could cure. And it would smoke for days until this goat skin took on a shape. Depending on how big of a bottle you wanted to make, depended on how many days it would take for the bottle to be ready. Many times the taskmaster would open up the door and he would check and he would feel around. It would be so smoky. He couldn't hardly breathe because there's nothing in there, just dark and smoke. And he would check the feel to make sure that everything is turning out right. If there's anything that needed to happen, he would pull it out and make sure he shaped it, and then he would put it back in. But at this point, going through the stage, it was so fragile that only the taskmaster could touch it. Not your ordinary walker by, passerby could walk by and grab a hold of this bottle that was preparing itself, that was getting ready. Nobody could just walk by. Somebody that knew what they was doing, somebody that knew what they was making, somebody that knew how many hours it could be in there or how many days, somebody that knew how much smoke that needed to be piped in. They would check it very delicately. They would check things. If it was ready, they would pull it out. If it wasn't ready, they would leave it. And David said, said, God, I don't understand. At this point, David's been through a lot of things in his life. And David says at this point, because he understands, he's had many battles made for him. He is king. He's got a taskmaster in his kingdom who is making battles on a daily business. He understands the procedure and what it takes. And David comes to God and he says these words, but I feel like, not the taskmaster, but I feel like I am the bottle in the smoke. It's dark. It's smoky. I can't see my hand in front of me. I feel alone. I feel choked up. How long is this going to take? What are you doing? Sometimes we go through things in our life. We question God. What next? Yeah. One of these days you learn to shut your mouth. Throw our hands up. Okay, God, what else can happen to me? And we go through these things, and yes, it's human nature at times, because when you don't understand what's going on in your life, and a lot of Christian people are serving God, but they have no clue of what is inside of them, and they have no clue of what it takes to get the goat out of you so that somebody else can enjoy a drink. Oh, you missed your opportunity to shout right then. Sometimes we don't even know what it takes to get the goat out of you.
Amen.
He says, because there's going to come a time we're going to separate the sheep from the goat.